Good morning. I am 5 minutes earlier today. As always, if you're watching in recording, you're welcome to fast forward or stay with us through our hellos. I'm just gonna take a moment to check the sound. You're welcome to fast forward. And the sound seems to be good. Good morning, Jean. Good morning, Maria. Good morning, Joey. Good morning, Gina. Good morning, Mary. Good morning, Jean. All right, well, it is time for us to start. and we'll continue our discussion of being hooked and how we can get out of this grip of being caught in our thoughts, in our stories. And basically, when we begin to see clearly what it is we do, how we get hooked and swept away by our old habits, our usual tendencies. Our usual tendency is to use that as a reason to get discouraged, a reason to feel really bad about ourselves. So we just see how so many things can trigger us, and we're like, oh my God, I will never get out of this. I'm just too, whatever, weak, or well, whatever it is you're telling yourself, and I am telling myself. But instead, we could realize how remarkable it is that we actually have this capacity to see ourselves honestly, and that doing this, seeing ourselves honestly, takes enormous courage. Then we can see our whole life as a teacher rather than as a burden. And fundamentally, it involves learning to stay present. But not just be present and then draw these conclusions of, oh, okay, I'm too weak, or I'm just too undisciplined, or whatever it is. But we can do it with a sense of humor, with loving kindness towards ourselves, with a sense of joy in this honest self-reflection. This process is called making friends with ourselves. This friendship is based on knowing all parts of ourselves without any prejudice. It's an unconditional friendliness. The more you stay present with yourself, the more you realize what all of us are up against. Just like you, other people feel pain and want it to go away. Just like you, they often go about this in a way that only makes matters worse. When we start to see the chain reaction of biting the hook, it's not as if we then feel superior about this achievement. Instead, this insight has the potential to humble us and cause us to have more sympathy for other people's confusion. Then when we see someone else getting hooked and swept away, instead of automatically being irritated, angry, mean, we have more chance of recognizing our sameness. We are definitely all in the same boat, and knowing this can make us very forgiving. In the Buddhist teachings on compassion, there is a practice called one at the beginning and one at the end. Pema Chodron describes it this way. When I wake up in the morning, I make an aspiration for the day. For example, I might say, today, may I acknowledge whenever I get hooked, or may I not speak or act out of anger. And I try not to make it too grandiose, as in, today may be completely free of all my neuroses. No, I begin with a small and clear intention, and then I go about the day with this in mind. In the evening, I review what happened. And this part can be very loaded for Western people, because we have an unfortunate tendency to emphasize our failures. And we all do this. But we could change our attitude around it. And if you see that you have connected with your morning aspiration even once briefly during the whole day, allow yourself to rejoice at this seemingly small win. And then the question becomes more useful. Can we have the aspiration to identify more and more with our ability to recognize what we're doing, instead of always identifying with our mistakes? This is the spirit of delighting, in what we see rather than despairing in what we see. It's the spirit of letting compassionate self-reflection build confidence rather than becoming a cause for depression. Just being able to recognize what's happening without denial is the basis of freedom, and we can rejoice in that. Then, if we can take the next step and refrain from going down the same old road, which sometimes we'll be able to do and sometimes we won't, we can rejoice that sometimes we do have that ability to interrupt the momentum. And that sometimes is major progress. We can rejoice when we're able to acknowledge and refrain. And also we should expect relapses. Sometimes it's one step forward, one step back. Then maybe it's one step forward and only half a step back. A famous Buddhist teacher, Chogyam Trungpa, actually gave a whole teaching around that. He said that if we had nothing but smooth sailing, if our habitual patterns just dropped away continually, week after week with no problem, we would have absolutely no empathy for all those people who continue to get hooked and act out. So it really opens up to true compassion that begins with ourselves, begins with our compassionate and honest self-reflection. So let's do a practice of loving kindness today, keeping in mind that compassionate self-reflection is the basis of our empathy toward others who are suffering. As always, take a comfortable position and take a few moments to settle. Settle into your body, into your breath, into right here, right now. Allow your breath to be nice and soft, completely natural. Remember, it's not about focusing tightly on your breath or anything else for that matter. You just feel yourself breathe. Feel yourself be in this moment. Letting the struggle go. Allowing old experiences, physical sensations, thoughts, emotions, to just flow through you as energy. And now begin your loving kindness practice with a very gentle reflection on the basic goodness within you and your wish to be happy. Scan your body and notice how that reflection affects your physical state, your breath, your heart, your thoughts. See if you can soften a bit from the inside out. Maybe a gentle smile on your lips. And start repeating after me, silently or out loud. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well in body and mind. May I feel protected, cared for, at ease. May I know deep, natural peace. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well in body and mind. May I feel protected, cared for, at ease. May I know deep, natural peace. As you do this verse, notice what comes up. Whatever arises, remind yourself that this is okay. How human of me. And continue with your verse. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be well in body and mind. May I feel protected, cared for, at ease. May I know deep, natural peace. If you feel spacious enough to include other people in your practice, then follow me. Otherwise, stick with offering loving kindness to yourself. And there is no judgment here. If you feel you need to stay with yourself for now, that's perfectly fine. Again, you can remind yourself, how human of me. Remind yourself that after all, our compassion is incomplete if it doesn't include ourselves first and foremost. But if you are ready to include others, think of a dear friend or family member, somebody who you love deeply and to whom you sincerely wish all the happiness in the world. You can even think of a situation where they are getting hooked, getting annoyed, frustrated, angry. Maybe say gently to yourself, how human of them, and send loving kindness to this person. May they be filled with loving kindness. May they be well in body and mind. May they feel protected, cared for, at ease. May they know deep, natural peace. Now think of a neutral person in your life, somebody who you see frequently but you have no emotional connection with. Maybe it's a person who helps you pump gas into your car, or a cashier at your supermarket. Remind yourself that just like you, they have pain and want to be happy. Just like you, they get hooked sometimes. And just like you, they deserve loving kindness. May they be filled with loving kindness. May they be well in body and mind. May they feel protected, cared for, at ease. May they know deep, natural peace. Now think of a challenging person in your life, somebody who regularly triggers you somehow, somebody who stimulates strong emotions in you. And once again, remind yourself that just like you, they have good days and bad days. Just like you, they have people who love and dislike them. Just like you, they get triggered and hooked. How human of them. And yet, just like you, they deserve loving kindness. May they be filled with loving kindness. May they be well in body and mind. May they feel protected, cared for, at ease. May they know deep, natural peace. And we will finish our practice by sending loving kindness to all beings. May all beings be filled with loving kindness. May all beings be well in body and mind. May all beings feel protected, cared for, at ease. May all beings know deep, natural peace. And now gently let go of your practice and scan your body again. Notice what's going on right now for you, physically, emotionally, mentally. How are you, really? And today, as you go through your day today, I encourage you to start this practice of one at the beginning and one at the end. So for a moment now, think of a manageable aspiration. For example, may I recognize when I get hooked? Or may I not act out of anger? Or whatever it is for you. And tonight, before you go to bed, check back in to see how it went. Remember that we all have a natural tendency to find fault with ourselves. And instead of falling into this bottomless pit, see if you can hold yourself with loving kindness and rejoice in even the seemingly small wins. Enjoy. Thank you so much for being here today. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you tomorrow.